More Houston Morning News with Matt Patrick now.
Happy Monday. The time now 6:17 at KTRH. Joining me in the studio right now is KTRH reporter Nick Rakovic. A story that he's been following. I thought it was very interesting about this new federal reporting law when it comes to long guns. If I'm going to purchase these long guns, what is the requirement currently?
Right now, you can just walk in, fill out the paperwork, and purchase these guns. Mm-hmm. Even up in Michigan, where I'm from, you can go to a grocery store in the backwoods. Right. And they sell shotguns and rifles in the back of the store, and you fill out the paperwork, go through a little bit of screening, and you can walk out with that gun. Now, here in Texas and other border states, Obama trying to crack down on these guns going across the border to the Mexican drug cartels. Only in these states now. He's proposed these requirements, the ATF cracking down. You cannot buy 2 or more of these long rifles within a 5-day period. And Jeremy Alcede with Tactical Firearms, he'll tell you he's a manufacturer, and there's a loophole for him. And probably the cartels will just go around this anyway, from what I'm hearing from firearm dealers.
Well, let's talk about that loophole. On our phone line right now, Jeremy Alcede from Tactical Firearms. Good morning, Jeremy.
Good morning.
Well, tell me about this requirement, as you're hearing that these border states being singled out, trying to prevent guns, at least that's what the Obama administration says, from crossing the border and going south to Mexico. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's something Texans should embrace?
It's not fair. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, and I think, if they're going to pass a law like that, that needs to be in all 50 states. It's not fair to single us out and cause more workload and more responsibility just on the 4 states because we're close to Mexico.
Jeremy, is there anything to the argument, though, from the White House that they're trying to track and crack down on the number of assault rifles that are going into Mexico, feeling they may be coming from border states?
It's not coming from border states. The guns in Mexico are coming from the ATF. Everybody knows that. Texas Gun Runner, they're another total flub up, I guess, the ATF. That's what they stand for, right? So it's their failed attempt to CYA. Do you really think that the drug cartels are going to come into a retail store, purchase 30 guns, and take them across the border? No.
Doesn't sound very logical, does it?
No, it's not going to happen. I mean, whenever they made it where antihistamines weren't able to be purchased in large quantities, do they still try to go and purchase 1 or 2 at a time? No, they're just going to go in and break into the store after hours and steal them.
Jeremy Alcede from Tactical Firearms joining us this morning. Jeremy, as we look at this, correct me if I'm mistaken, this requirement is not in place currently, right?
No, it's been in place. It's been in place for 8 months.
So what happens when people come in to buy arms in your store? What do you tell them?
Well, in my store, so our old store, we were an O1 dealer, meaning all we did is buy and sell. When we moved to our new location, we became a manufacturer because what that allowed us to do is, A, manufacture guns, and B, it made us exempt from having to fill out these forms because I totally believe it's a violation of my Customer's Privacy Act, and I'll do whatever I can to protect that.
Well, stick around with me if you would. We're going to do traffic and weather really quickly. When we come back, I want to talk to you a little bit about the court challenge to this and what you think might possibly happen at the very end of it. We're talking about a new restriction here in Texas and other border states that makes it, if you want to buy a long gun in these border states, that you, and more than 1, 2 or more, you then have to report that to the federal government, this new reporting guideline. So, Jeremy, as we look at this, I'm glad to see that the gun owners in Texas and other border states are now banding together and putting together a court challenge. Who is behind this, and what do you think will be the outcome eventually of this court challenge?
Well, if they believe in our constitutional rights and our Bill of Rights, it says that we have the right to bear arms, not we have the right to bear arms if you let us know what you're buying. So I'm hoping that it's squashed. The NSSF, National Sports Shooting Foundation, has got a group of attorneys behind them, and they called and asked us if we'd be part of it. I said, of course, and just like I think any other gun store owner would be.
You know, what's interesting about this is you really do not hear an awful lot about this. I mean, this to me, and I think to others, it seems like an awful direct attack on the Second Amendment rights of gun owners in the United States. Why are we not hearing about this on the news every single night?
Because it makes for bad press. It's, in Texas, I don't think you have the right to bear arms. I think you have the obligation to bear arms. We love our guns here in Texas. And just because you're going to buy 2 or more means you get put on a list, you know, so whenever they come to pick up your guns, they know where to go. You know, it's just, I don't understand the way this country's going. I definitely don't agree with it. And it needs to change.
So, Jeremy, with what's in place right now, how are the feds approaching you? Do they come to you asking you for information?
Well, we were given a mandate, a memo from the ATF months ago saying that, you know, for every 2 guns that are purchased from the same individual within 1 week, we have to send in a report. Well, that's done with handguns, and it has to go to the sheriff, the local sheriff, and it has to go to the ATF. Well, they also made that with the long guns. When we were reading the law, it said that that was exempt from manufacturers. So I talked to my wife, and I said, look, I don't agree with this. We're not made to do it. I don't think we should do it. You know, it might cause some problems with the ATF, which we wholeheartedly agree with a lot of things the ATF stands for, and we help them. In many cases, we've had, you know, some bad problems come through, and we knew that they were bad, and we definitely took care of it legally. But this just doesn't make any sense. And so it said if you were a manufacturer, you were exempt, and we decided to exempt ourselves. And they've since called us and sent us a letter, and they said, hey, you haven't gotten the report. We know you don't have to, but would you mind? And I said, yes, I would mind. So, have they made you feel like you're being intimidated? Are they making you feel like you better do this, or there'll be repercussions from the federal government? No, they haven't. We have a very sophisticated computer system that tracks our guns, so I'm not worried. See, what they do is every year they come in and they do an audit to make sure all your paperwork's correct and everything was done properly and you didn't lose any guns. But our computer system is so state-of-the-art that it does not allow us to lose a gun. It doesn't allow us to accidentally sell a gun to someone else. Sure. And so what they would do, I would think, is come in and be really, really strict and then maybe fine you more. But, you know, it's going to be hard for them to do that to us. But well, you know, they're really not the bad guys. I don't think they would intentionally come and do that to us. Well, I really appreciate you coming and joining us this morning and kind of updating us on a story that I think probably should definitely concern all Americans. Thank you so much. That's Jeremy Alcede with Tactical Firearms.